everyone, and welcome to the Farmer Supply Association Agri Report. I'm Randy Klepechka, agronomist with Farmer Supply Association. We are taping on December 5th. Another year about gone, and going to be time to plant another crop before you know it. These years, especially these off seasons, quote off seasons, go by real quick anymore. But this month I want to talk about rice varieties. It's time to be selecting those if you haven't already. I'm going to talk about the varieties that, where seed is available through Farmer Supply Association. I'm going to be talking agronomics. I'm an agronomist, not a salesman, so I'm going to be talking, agronomics and not necessarily talking about seed availability. That's going to vary quite a bit depending on varieties, hybrids, whatever it is. So that can vary quite a bit. Right now I might tell you that something's available or something's not available, and that can change by planting season. A lot of that depends on, of course, the planting season. If we have a real wet late planting season, some varieties may break loose that are, or hybrids might break loose that aren't available right now. So again, I'm going to talk about agronomics, and we'll let the seed situation work itself out, through between now and next planting season. There's less new stuff as far as talking about varieties this year and last year. I know last year, I tried to do a program like this about this time every year, and last year there was quite a bit of new stuff to talk about. Really got one or two new things to talk about this year. A lot of the same stuff will apply as I talked about last year, but there are one or two new things I'll mention as I go through this. Just going to take it, category by category and talk about what's available, whether it be new or something we've dealt with a long time, and just kind of go through them and make some comments about what is out there and what we will see in the field next year, whether seed's available or not right now. Going to talk about, first talk about the conventional long grains. Really got four I want to touch on here: Ozark, Diamond, ProGold 1, and ProGold 4. Of course, Ozark is the fairly new release from the University of Arkansas, really grown on a fairly widespread basis last year. Most people were pretty happy with it last year. I want to preface one thing, a lot of stuff was good last year because we had a good planting season. We got planted early. It was a good rice yield. So, a lot of things were good last year, and we've got to take that with some caution. And I'm not saying Ozark's not going to be a great variety, because I think it is, but sometimes, especially those conventional varieties, if you have a good year and you get planted early, they can really shine. If you have one of those tougher years where you get planted late and things just don't go right throughout the season, they may step down a little bit. So again, I just want to take all these things with a grain of salt, especially with some of these newer varieties like Ozark. Hopefully Ozark will pan out and be good for us every year. But again, Ozark's kind of I think the standard right here. Most people that grew it last year did good with it, were happy with it. Diamond's still out there. Of course, it's kind of run its course, I think. But if you look, you look at the tests, it still does pretty good in a lot of the tests. So, it's not necessarily a dead variety, I don't think. But it's, it's just not as popular as it once was, and most people have turned to Ozark in those situations, I think. ProGold 1 and ProGold 4 are progeny varieties. ProGold 1's been around a while. ProGold 4 is a newer one there that they've got. They're trying to get a little in the field this year, and it's really looked pretty competitive in a lot of the tests. So is one you might want to consider there. So again, conventional long grains: Ozark, Diamond, ProGold 1, and ProGold 4. You look at the conventional medium grains, and a lot of good choices in medium grains, not just conventional. And it's kind of sad. We've got all these new ones, and yet the medium grain market is the way it is. It's just kind of a glut there, and just not a lot of movement as far as upward movement as far as prices or anything like that. So, I don't know how much interest there'll be in medium grain. Some people are going to grow medium grain every year. Some people will grow it just because, the yield potential is there, and it's more consistent sometimes in some of these long grains. So even if the market is a little depressed, they might still grow it. But, it kind of remains to be seen how much will be grown, but I don't look for a big explosion in acreage for sure in medium grain. But we've got Taurus and Titan as far as the conventional medium grains, and Taurus is the new one. Has shown better yield potential in the tests and in the field. But you look at Titan in some of the tests, and it still does really well, but it's more inconsistent. So I think we've kind of gone to Taurus in a lot of these situations. Again, looking at the progeny of ProGold, they've got a medium grain that's ProGold M3, and it's been very competitive in the tests that I've seen. So that's another one there. I'm going to go ahead and throw the hybrid in here as well. Rice Tech 3202, that's a pretty new one. And it's just like a typical Rice Tech hybrid. High yield potential, good disease package. So that's another one to consider right there is RT3202. We'll just have to see what kind of interest we have in medium grain. Looking at the clear fields from Horizon Ag, the Clearfield long grains, we've got CLL 16, 18, and 19. 16's kind of been the standard for a few years. 18 and 19 came around last year. 18's kind of got the better yield potential of all three of these. It really did well in the field last year. Again, it was a good rice year, but most people were very happy with 18 that had it. It's got a good package and just a good solid variety there. So 18's kind of, I think, the step above the other two there. Looking at 19, it's kind of interesting variety. It's earlier maturing, so if you're wanting something to maybe get started cutting a little bit earlier or something like that, just something with a little earliness to it, you might want to give that a shot on part of your acreage, because that's one of the good things about it is the earliness. It's also a semi-dwarf, which we don't have as many of those anymore. So if you like semi-dwarfs, you like earliness, you might want to give 19 a shot and just grow some of it to see how it does for you. But again, 16, 18, and 19 with 18 probably a step above the other two. But again, very good varieties right there. The Clearfield medium grains, again, we talked about the medium grain market, but we've got with the Clearfield medium grains from Horizon, we've got CLM04 and CLM05. We've had some CLM04 grown for people that wanted a Clearfield variety and they wanted a medium grain. The yield potential of M04, it's all right, but it's not top end or anything like that. So, but if you were looking for that niche or want to grow medium grain and needing a Clearfield, and CLM04 has been good for a few of those growers that I work with that do want that. So, they've been happy with it, but this year we've got a new choice, CLM05, and it's got better yield potential than M04, a pretty good step up from M04. So again, if you're looking for that medium grain variety and you need the Clearfield, well, then M05 is the one for you, and I think you'll be very happy, certainly with its yield potential above what M04 has been for you in the past. Moving to the Rice Tech varieties, the long grains, and again, not a lot new to say about this. I mean, if you're going to Rice Tech hybrid, you're going to have excellent yield potential. You're going to have a good disease package. And, you look at them, compare them. I mean, you'll see some subtle differences of disease here and there, like 75-21, had the smut issue. And, one or two things here. But generally, if you're growing those Rice Tech hybrids, you're going to have a good disease package and you're going to have excellent yield potential. So the long grains, we've got 753, 7302, 7401, the full pages, 7321, 7421, 7521, 7523. But again, all of those are going to have, similar, really, to me, fairly similar type characteristics. Want to move on to the Quizalofop tolerant varieties, and these are varieties that are, tolerant to the old, or to the Quizalofop herbicide, which is the old Assure 2 that we used in soybeans. And we've grown some of these over the past few years. The Max Ace varieties and Max Ace hybrid from Rice Tech, and the PVL03 and the PVL04, the Previsia tolerant varieties. Of course, they come from Horizon Ag. The 03 was the first one. 04 is the one that kind of stepped in there last year, but both of them are still available. Both of them good yield potential, not top end necessarily yield potential, but good yield potential. So if you need this technology, these are good varieties for you. One thing about the Previsia is typically they're going to have good milling, a step up in milling, much like the medium grains do. But looking at the test from last year, it was a down year for a lot of stuff milling wise. But in the normal situation, I think the PVL03 and 04 and the medium grains are going to have better milling yield potential than some of the other stuff out there. So that's kind of where they have a niche at. Looking at the Rice Tech version of the Quizalofop tolerant varieties, we've got the Rice Tech has a variety and a hybrid. The V7231 is their variety. And much like the Previsia, L03 and L04, not top end yield potential, but if you need the technology, acceptable yield potential, I guess you would say. And they also have a variety, the 7331, which will have a higher end yield potential, similar, to what the other hybrids are. So These are some of the choices we've got. These are most of the choices that we've got this year. There's some other ones that we don't sell that, that I don't feel, appropriate for me to talk about. But for the ones that you can get when the seed's available through Farmer Supply Association, this kind of covers all of them. And anytime you've got questions on any of this, feel free to contact me through Farmer Supply Association. And this has been Randy Kopechka with your FSA Agri Report for December.